Just like that, we're back. Views from Section 400. Little Sunday evening recording here for you guys to set you up for a nice Monday morning. I've been traveling like crazy. I am exhausted as shit. Try to bear with me as we break down the Pacers taking game one. Game two happened last night. I think we're confident enough.
The Thunder won.
Win.
The Pacers can't do this again. The Thunder won.
I tend to agree, but that's why we shouldn't have laughed or wrote off the plus 700 Pacers to win the finals. We'll jump into some hockey. Panthers somehow tie it up, get the win in Edmonton to bring the series back to Florida. We'll gauge Jack's confidence level, I guess you could call it, as he is now
feeling good. We're feeling very good.
Now our Florida Panther super fan, so to speak. Is that true? Like, is that what you are now?
Yeah, man. I mean, when it comes to the NHL, the Panthers are my team.
Of course.
There's no doubt about it. And I've been on their train for 2 years now. We're about to have 2 championships, knock on some wood over here. So, yeah, I think things are looking good down there in South Florida.
Yeah, at least Yannick Sinner lost today for you, so you can't be too gloating.
Coco got it done. But, yeah, Yannick Sinner came in second, lost to Alcaraz. I mean, that was just what was chalked up. So I went a little risky, went with the underdog, but didn't pay out for me.
Fuck off.
We will get into probably some French Open talk in the all-new Summer Breeze segment that we have on here as Aaron Judge just went yard for the Yankees. Got a jam-packed show here. It is the Michael of the week, this Summer Breeze. We'll talk some NBA and NHL, playoffs, finals, whatever you want to call it. Let's get a quick word from SeatGeek, and we'll roll right into the action.
We finally made it through winter. Spring is here, summer is coming, and the best place to get tickets to all the baseball games, all your summer concerts, or anything else is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of Views from Section 400. First-time purchasers can use our code ViewsFrom400 at checkout for $20 off any tickets, whether you're going to a baseball game, watching the Mets, watching the Phillies, you want to see a country concert on a lawn and wherever venue you want to go to. SeatGeek is the place to go. Super easy to get any ticket. They have a one-of-a-kind system, shows you the best deal for your buck. And the best part, you get $20 off your first purchase with code ViewsFrom400 at checkout. We love SeatGeek. Thank you to them again. And here's the rest of the show.
Thanks to SeatGeek, as always. Let's jump over to the hardwood over on the NBA Finals here. The Pacers up 1-0 as we're recording this. Do we just say it's 1-1 and tied up here?
It's 1-1.
Brian, on the show, when we get too far ahead of ourselves, things don't tend to go the way that we predict. So I'm not going to get on that train, but I do think it's interesting. A lot of people kind of just kind of wrote off the Pacers, man, right? And maybe we did a little bit. I feel like I didn't totally. I feel like, Brian, you wrote them off more than I did. Jack, I don't remember where your
I went back and listened to the last pod with just me and Brian. It was right before game one, and I was saying, look, there's no reason OKC should be losing at home. They've been phenomenal at home all season. But the Pacers have been fully capable of some miraculous upset wins on the road. They did it in New York, very memorably. And that was deja vu, what happened in game one. Halliburton just, this is me. I got this. Hits the shot, man. They'd be just incredibly clutch. Got to give him a lot of credit.
They did it in New York. They did it in Cleveland, and they did it against Milwaukee. They have now 4 wins where they had a 0.3% chance to win at one point, a 2.1% chance to win at one point, a 4.1% chance to win, and a 2.6% chance to win. They've won all 4 of those. It's a 1 in 1.5 million chance that they win all 4 of those games. I don't know how they keep getting away with this, but the Halliburton is very happy right now. Tyrese Halliburton is 13 for 15 on shots to go ahead or tie the game with under 2 minutes left this season. And he got called overrated by his peers.
Yeah, called overrated. Yeah, no, he's been phenomenal. We would be we wouldn't be right in not giving Nembhard and Naismith some credit too. They hit big shots as they have been all playoffs long. They hit some big shots down the stretch. Nembhard going, in between the legs twice, behind step back 3. It looked like some James Harden stuff, but just very impressive what these Pacers have been able to put together. And they're sharing the basketball well too. I think in that game, Tyrese had like 15 assists, something crazy like that.
Yeah. High flying Obi Toppin's making jump shots too. They're doing everything right. And it's like the way that crowd sounded at the end of that game is how it's just my brain has felt this whole playoffs watching the Pacers. Just disbelief. It's like, how do they do this? They were just losing by 15 with 10 minutes left in the fourth. And then they're slowly creeping back. And then Miles Turner hits 3 threes in a row. And Nembhard gets an and one. And then all of a sudden, Tyrese has the ball, and they're down by 1. And you're like, yeah, they're going to win this game and steal another one.
Well, I think one of the most important things you just said right there, the Oklahoma City Thunder were only up 15. And we've been talking about it for a while. If they're only up 10, 15 points, I mean, 15 is a good amount, but not enough. They need a 30, 40-point lead to be able to feel comfortable going down the stretch against anybody. You know, the Pacers, as good as they are coming back, 30, 40 points is too much. So bringing it all back to your first comments, I do think they get the W tonight at home, and the spread's 11 points. I think they clear that. They're going to need to win this by 20, 30 points.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that the Thunder probably get it done. They should get it done. They've proven all playoffs that if they get slapped in the face, which they really haven't. But if they do, and by slap in the face, I mean maybe drop a game, they come back strong. So all signs point to them winning and winning decisively, I think. But again, we'll have to wait and see.
It feels like a must win. Right? Because you can't go down 2-0 and then go to Indiana and you have Tyrese's father sitting there and you're not going to sweep him in Atlanta. You don't want to be down 3-1.
Yeah, you don't want to be down 2-0. You're losing both games at home. I don't think that would fare very well for him. But look, if it's another close game, I do think the Pacers have what it takes. And we saw it in game 1. We've seen it all playoffs. And that's been my knock on OKC. Can they win close games? We've seen SGA, take control and win a couple of games for them along with, great defense. But, now we're in the finals. This is big boy. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Everybody on the other side, meaning the Pacers, they're locked in. So Thunder by 20, 30 points. Otherwise, give me the Pacers, man. Close game, I'm with the Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, they've way more battle tested, right? And it's tough to be battle tested for the Thunder if you're the 1 seed. But, as a 4 seed up 1-0, I mean, when's the last time we've seen this in the NBA playoffs, right? We've been, how do I say this without, being wrong? But I just feel like we've been so top heavy with the seeds the last, the LeBron era, so to speak. But when's the last time we had, I mean, this feels like a Cinderella run almost. And I know 4 seed isn't that crazy, but I guess that's just how not bad the playoffs have been, but just how top loaded they've been with the 1 and 2 seeds always winning. I don't know. It's fun to see a Cinderella team not in March Madness.
Yeah, well, only champions get remembered, right? But with that in mind, the only team that comes to my mind here, based off of what you just said, Matt, is the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk when they won it all against LeBron.
Yeah, 2011.
I can't remember what seed they were, but I would imagine they weren't a top heavy. They definitely weren't favorites. I'll tell you that.
No, that was Cinderella-esque depending on where they were. But
right.
Yeah, another team against LeBron, and again, only champions get remembered. But it was also the bubble too, so Mickey Mouse. But the Heat were an 8 seed that year.
Yeah, but no. I'm not giving you that. And like you said, they didn't win. And maybe we forget about the Pacers if they go and blow this series. But I don't know. It's been a magical run, man. I mean, knocking off the Knicks, handling the Bucks, knocking off the 1 seed in the East and the Cavs, which I have my comments about them. But yeah, it's really cool to see, and I hope the NBA. Not that you can script it for it to happen more often, but it gives it a March Madness-esque feel, and that's what makes it exciting. And that's probably the only excitement I've gotten out of these NBA playoffs is watching the run. I know, Brian will tell me about the Knicks series and then tell me about the exciting games down the stretch and this and that. But I still will continue to die on the hill of this has been, for the most part, pretty underwhelming playoffs. And you can disagree all you want, but that's just where I'm at.
Yeah, so the Mavs were a 3 seed that year, which, I mean, it's Cinderella enough in the context that we're talking about with the Pacers of the 4. I think, and I was talking about this with our buddy Matt Smith, friend of the program. Got to get him on one day. He's a big listener. Appreciate you for listening, Matt. But I think what we're seeing is, with the NBA, you had Magic and Bird, and then you had MJ, and then you had Kobe, and then you had the Spurs Big Three. Then you have, I guess, the Spurs Big Three, then Kobe and Shaq, and then you had LeBron. Now you really don't have a figure. And is that going to be Anthony Edwards? Is that going to be Jason Tatum? You don't really have that guy that's going to control and be in the finals every year. So maybe we finally do see some parity. And maybe that leads to bad ratings, which Adam Silver is freaking out about because we had all-time bad ratings in this game 1. But we don't have that guy.
Yeah, you don't have a superstar and you don't have the big market, bro. It's OKC in Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, look,
are we really doing
the face of the NBA conversation right now?
We don't really have to because there's not one. Like, you can say Jokic, but he's not making the finals every year.
Well, but that's the other thing is, like, as good as some of these guys are, you have to be marketable, and you have to be marketable to the right people. A lot of people that love basketball love Jokic because he's just so dang good. But people who don't love basketball see him and he's the European that's not that interested in the game, doesn't love the game, wants to get out and go play with his horses in another country. People can't get behind that. I feel like it's the same thing with Shea simply because he's from Canada. And like that's enough for people to like not get behind him. Anthony Edwards is all you have to do though is make the finals every year. Like Rose knows Patrick Mahomes because every time we watch the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes is playing in the Super Bowl. She knows Michael Jordan because he was in so many finals and he's Michael Jordan. LeBron because he's always in the final. We don't have that right now. Okay, but
we're seeing the power shift, right? There's a lot of young superstars. We don't have the guys who are building a legacy, but we'll see. I think in the mid 2020s here, maybe somebody emerges, but I do think the power is shifting. And there's a lot of young superstars, so it's not that we won't necessarily have that. It's early, right? And what are we going from LeBron to who's that next guy? Is it a 2-guy tandem? Is it and I think to bring it all the way back before we dived into this whole conversation is let's qualify or figure out, right? Because I feel like a lot of people have different reasons on how to get to the right answer. What makes you the face of the NBA? Is it making the finals every year? Is it just being so fucking marketable? Jokic, yeah, he's won it. They just lost in the second round. So, are you just that much of a great player? Like, how do we qualify how you're the face of the NBA? And then I think we can go from there.
Well, my thing, I'm not even talking about the face of the NBA. I'm just saying there's no one that's winning consistently. And the NBA hasn't seen that in forever. And that's why we have parity right now. And that's what makes the league good, if you like that. Or if you want to chant, hey, we need a superstar, or we need the Celtics and the Lakers to play every year.
I don't need that. But we have the superstars. I think this is...
But not the superstars we've been seeing that have been dominant. Like, since Magic and Larry Bird, you've had at least 2 superstars in the league that are always in the finals. And we don't have that right now.
Well, so does that tell you the talent around the league is just there's so much of it across the board in both conferences that makes it so tough?
I think it's a mix of both. It's parity, and it's also there's not a dominant figure.
It's because all the dominant figures are still in the league and they're too old. Like, people are still looking to LeBron and KD and Curry, and no offense, but
it's been like that forever, though. LeBron had to deal with Kobe. Kobe had to deal with Jordan. Jordan had to deal with Magic and Larry Bird. They get old, and then you surpass them.
Kobe, but nobody's really surpassing these guys. As far is that what you're saying? Nobody's surpassing these guys because
that's why we have parity. That's my whole thing here.
Well, because
I'm still trying to make this profound argument. All I'm saying is we have parity, and it's a good thing, and we have these Cinderella runs. Because
agree.
you don't have a dominant figure.
Yes. I'm on your side, Brian. I'm just
I think I'm picking up
spice
what you're
up the
putting down now.
conversation.
Because we look to the Olympics, right? And LeBron and Steph Curry are still the two best basketball players in the world right now at their ages. But then you come to the NBA and, you're playing 5 guys full season, multiple games. And by the end of it, these guys aren't fresh. The Olympics is a small little stretch where these guys can go hard. And the NBA is different. Everybody's still looking at those guys come playoff time. And then it's like, what do you mean Tyrese Halliburton and Donovan Mitchell and, all the Shea are leading these guys, where the guys I mentioned, the KDs, the Brons, the Currys, that's who people are still clinging on to. Nobody's taken that mantle yet. So it's going to be divided until they're gone.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm rooting for another dominant figure to join or if I want to see parity, but either way, it's interesting. It's not the same old NBA. I'm also annoyed because the Pacers did the same kind of shit in the NBA Cup last year when it was still called the in-season tournament, and I didn't think about it. And I wish I would have bet Pacers versus Thunder finals because we know how we felt about the Thunder last year. But I digress.
Why did well, I might have missed it because I was watching the baseball game, but where's the correlation to the NBA Cup to predicting Thunder Pacers in the finals?
The Pacers made this ridiculous run in the NBA Cup last year where these young guys felt like it was postseason type tournament. And you're like, oh, maybe they're on the up and up and they can make a run. And what do you know? They made the run this year in the actual playoffs.
Yeah, if you think I watched
who won the NBA Cup this year?
Exactly.
LeBron won it last year.
Nobody
I don't
knows.
know who won it this year. Was it the Celtics?
Wait, LeBron won it last year? Oh,
LeBron beat the Pacers last year. I think it was the Celtics this year.
Nobody knows. We gotta have like a guy
NBA
like a producer behind the glass, Brian behind the glass, who can just get the quick stats immediately.
Yeah.
The Bucks beat the Thunder in the championship. Giannis won MVP.
Well,
and maybe if they had Dame, they could have actually met up with them. And that would have ended
on the All NBA Cup team.
Who was?
Dame.
Who was?
Yeah, him, Giannis, SGA, Şengün, and Trae Young made his way onto the All NBA Cup team.
Yeah, a lot of people were on the Şengün train this year, but yeah, this is I guess Halliburton's. Oh no, never mind. I mentioned it. I thought Halliburton was from Canadian too, so I thought we had like an all Canadian, like Halliburton versus SGA. But I guess he's not Canadian, so.
No, Lou Dort's Canadian though.
Yeah, I don't know. We're just the international uptick in superstars is nuts, and maybe not this year, but like the Americans are getting rooted out, dude.
The Americans haven't won an MVP in 6-7 years.
It's wild.
It's been a while.
But probably aren't going to in a while either, unless Cooper Flag gets it done. But Victor's only getting better.
Yeah, and to Jack's point, what he said a little bit ago as well, we're still the best of the Olympics, and it's not really even close. But we can't win an MVP in the NBA.
They almost lost to Serbia. If Steph Curry didn't go crazy.
Nah, they're not losing anytime soon, I don't think. We're close calls are not losses.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in 4 years. I think they'll get it done because it's at home. But when Victor's in his prime and they'll still have Jokic out there, SGA's not going anywhere. Canada's going to be back.
Is Gobert still going to be able to play in 4 years?
Maybe. Yeah, he'll still play. They had Fournier running around, and who's the other old guy on France?
Nick Batum.
Yeah, they were running around in the Olympics, so he'll still be there.
Batum won't be there next time.
No, they won't, but Rudy will.
Maybe.
And Wemby will be the
and they got Bilal Coulibaly and Frank Ntilikina. They got pieces around them.
Yep.
Gershon Yabusele.
Yep. Yabusele.
Brian, you can stop now.
Yeah, all right. The Olympics are in a few years. We don't have to talk about that. But NBA play or finals, I guess we'll get a really good breakdown on the Wednesday show. So stay tuned for that midweek. Let's jump over now to the ice. The Edmonton Oilers tie it up. Or no, sorry, they won game one. Then we're looking primed to win game two. Florida took the lead, or I don't know how it went, but then I think Oilers tied it up at the end to push it to overtime.
Panthers tried to kill the Oilers goalie.
Panthers get it done. Yeah, look, sometimes you gotta get a little scrappy. You gotta get.
They play hard, man. I'm not gonna say sorry. They play hard.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, first time the Stanley Cup Finals have been overtime games to start off the first two games since 2014.
Okay, I didn't know that stat, but I was just going to say the fact that we've gotten 2 overtime games to start the Stanley Cup, I mean, any hockey fan's got to be super pumped right now. Even as I'm rooting for the Panthers, you know that, but anytime Edmonton is doing something crazy, making a comeback, I'm having so much fun, dude. This series is a lot of fun. Hopefully, neither of you guys are hating on it. You're not going to be able to rain on my parade either way, but I know Matt's not really been a fan of the playoffs lately, so it's been awesome though.
NBA, I haven't.
Yeah, the NBA's been kind of mid, but all the other sports we've had in the weekend that we weren't recording, and I guess late week, besides the Auburn Tigers losing again, but we don't have to talk about that. All the other sports have been electric, and I know we always joke like the summer stinks for sports, late spring stinks for sports, but we've had a great week of sports here.
We say that it stinks, but that's just because your guys, your sports palette isn't as open as it needs to be, dude. There's other things going on in the summer. You just gotta try new things, man.
The Canadian Open is not the same as like a Thursday night football.
I understand, but
well, the Canadian Open featured a 4-round playoff, so yeah, it was pretty electric, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good sport. Like the tennis was great this weekend, but I'd rather watch, I don't know, Auburn play in March Madness or a random Central Connecticut play in March Madness.
Can't always be March, Brian. Can't always
be February or a random game in February on ESPN Plus. I don't care.
If those sports were 12 months long, they would get dry and they wouldn't hold this passion and feeling that you have for them. So
yeah,
I'm not saying they should be 12 months. I'm just saying there's a reason I like them more.
We should make a shirt that says "I wish it was March."
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we need to get a lot of merch going. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, anywho,
we still owe Ben a shirt.
Yeah, we'll get it over to him. It's on back order. Tariffs.
Oh, is it on back order?
Tariffs. Ben, we'll get to you
out
soon.
There. Fucking killing everybody, dude. Small businesses taking a hit. Anyway, getting over to the hockey club that we're going to see, man. Look, as a neutral in this particular matchup, right? A Flyers fan, we've been a disaster. So I got to be a neutral for the last couple playoffs. But give me a 7-game series and give me every single game going to overtime. I mean, these are clearly the two best teams in the NHL. We saw it last year where it went to 7 games. I don't need anything less than 7 games here.
Yeah, 100%.
Jack, you're agreeing. You should want to see like a Panthers in the next 3.
Dude, that's the thing. 7 games, double overtime in every single one of them. I love it, dude. This is awesome hockey. Obviously, it'd be great to see the Panthers go out, win the next 3, call it a day, hoist the Stanley Cup yet again. But yeah, I'm enjoying the hockey. So yeah, I'll take a double overtime win for the next few games. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so what was it? Game 1 had no overtime or 1 overtime, and game 2 had 2 overtimes.
Did game 1 only have 1 overtime? Either if it only had 1 overtime, it happened really late in the overtime. I just remember watching that game forever too.
Yeah, I think it had 1. Game 2 had 2.
Games start too late.
Can we bet game 3 to go to 3 overtimes?
I don't think you can specifically. You can bet it to go to overtime, and then went to hits overtime. You can bet it to go to second overtime. And then went to hit second overtime, you can bet it to go to a third overtime.
So you'd have to parlay that, kind of, sort of.
Do they go to a shootout after 2 overtimes?
No
shootouts. And
this is the season, though, that you get all the fake news going around Twitter that, like, in the 7th overtime, the goalies have to face off 1v1 and the first person to score. Like, that's crazy rules that everyone just falls for because they have no idea.
First person to lose a tooth loses.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But I do want to, we're kind of just, in the dog days of summer here, so we can kind of talk about whatever the hell we want, I feel like. But it pertains back over to basketball. Do you guys see the NBA is trying to start a European league, which I don't know will either combine with the Euro League or be their own thing? But I think that's interesting and kind of goes back to when we talked about, fixing the All-Star game. I know it'll have nothing to do with the All-Star game, but we talked about the NBA opening a presence in Europe and trying to bring that all together in some kind of light. Just a couple notes here. It says the NBA's talks with FIBA and other entities about the process of adding a new league in Europe are continuing, Commissioner Adam Silver said. So they're trying to get some kind of league over in Europe, and it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. Just thought that was interesting. In the height of the NBA Finals, they're looking at expansion.
Adam Silver's an idiot. The NFL does these leagues.
He's growing the global game, man.
What more do you have to grow? You already have these fans yelling at you because they're better at basketball than we are in America.
Well,
you can't exactly
put it on. I don't know what
basketball
kind of
crusades when it's already the huge deal.
It's obviously in the early stages, but what would that be? How would that
I don't know what that would look like because they have Euro leagues in all those countries over there, multiple levels. I mean, would it be full time? It's not like a tournament over there. It's not like a Champions
new league with an initial target of 16 teams.
Is like a Champions League?
No, just NBA Europe.
Since the NBA and FIBA went public with their idea to move forward, talks have gotten more constructive. So I don't know. I think a Champions League could be sick. To be honest with you.
I mean, maybe they're trying to absorb
all those
the Euro League.
Do it in the summer, right? So you do. I mean, it'd be tough because that's like the off season. You would replace the NBA. You can't get
these players to play back to backs. You're not going to get them to play in the summer.
No, not in the summer, and you would have to. The fucking ocean ruins everything, man.
You could do it in the middle of the season instead of the NBA Cup, and have it be
for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like they did with the Four Nations in hockey.
Yeah, but make it even longer, so the regular season's 50 games.
Yeah, do 50 games and add this and integrate the Euro League, and you can do it like they do for the Ryder Cup in golf. 1 year it's in America, 1 year it's in Europe.
Yeah, and then we could have Jared Harper
and never have that.
Austin Wiley win it for.
What did you say, Jack? You don't think they'll ever do it?
NBA owners wouldn't have that.
Why? They still get the media deals. They still get all their money.
They're governors, by the way, too.
I don't think they'd be getting the same kind of money that they would be getting if their games were at their arenas versus overseas.
Well, they still can be, I guess. Well, yeah, they wouldn't because they're not getting it. We just talked about shortening the season, so they would lose money there. But you create a deal and say, hey, here's the media rights deal. Your team's playing, and then here's your extra chunk of change to replace that. I think there's a way you can make it work.
If you also get the EuroLeague teams into this league, which we don't even really know. Yeah, that's revenue sharing. You get all the European eyeballs to give you their money.
Right. Yeah. So there's it's a different payment structure, a different revenue structure, a different way to get paid, but they're still getting paid nonetheless.
Imagine Steve Ballmer bringing the wall over to Germany.
Dude, it would just be it would be electric.
Like Germany, you mean the place that has the population of Florida?
Yeah, you play Alba Berlin and you bring your wall? That'd be electric.
That'd be pretty cool, man.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool, it wouldn't be fun, it wouldn't be electric. I'm just saying I don't think the money would be the same.
Like, well, they have enough money.
It could be more. It could be more.
I digress.
Vote for fun, Jack.
I digress.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking try to be and protect the rich pricks. Vote for fun, like
just being a realist, brother.
Well, don't be.
Sorry to bring you guys back to reality.
Yeah, it is what it is. But all right, anything else in the NBA or not even the NBA? I thought that was interesting. The interesting thing. I vote for fun. Brian votes for fun. Jack votes to be a realist.
There's another T-shirt.
There's another T-shirt. Vote for fun. Dude, we got some good ideas here, man.
On a roll.
Brian, I hope you're writing this down.
It's on.
Jack, don't you have a AI note-taking bot?
Yeah, where's your otter.ai?
AI bot, dude.
That got turned down by the leadership team.
When it takes up a whole square on our Zoom meeting.
Hey, boss said no, man. What do you guys want from me?
You gotta do what you gotta do. It's all good. I thought that thing was still rolling along, but either way, it's all good. All right. Now, Jack, anything else on your Panthers before we get into the Michael of the week here?
Please no.
Shout out Brad Marchand. That's it, Brian. Shut up.
I agree, but that has been one of the most electric additions at the deadline and across all sports that I've ever seen in my life. And he's playing on their third or fourth line, or he's like
third line,
third line guy. I mean, unbelievable addition. So that's a good way to end that there. But we will jump over now to the Michael of the week. Can't wait to see what you guys got in this one. Mr. Jack, you want to lead us off so you can get in and out here?
Yeah. Let me lead us off so I can get fucking yelled at during the Michael of the week. So
it's always just fun to go to you, Jack, because we don't know what ours are, and for whatever reason, Brian always has an issue with your Michael of the week, whether good or
always bad.
Probably because I have such an issue with this whole segment that we do every week.
Winner of the week, Derrick Henry, for getting paid $30 million.
All right,
Brian,
I'm getting into it.
One.
My Michael of the week. This is in light of Aaron Naismith going absolutely dumb the other night in the Eastern Conference Finals. But Aaron Naismith and Chris Middleton are both alumni of a high school not too far from me here in Charleston, South Carolina. They're also the only two players in NBA history to score 20-plus points in the fourth quarter of an Eastern Conference Finals game. So the only two players in NBA history to do that are from the same high school. Found that pretty interesting. Right here, right by me in Charleston.
That might be your best Michael of the week ever.
I don't want to hear it from you. Matt, what do you think about it?
I think it's pretty cool. I agree with Brian that it's very well crafted out of your end. In terms of comments about it, I think it's cool, local to you. I don't have anything else other than that. I got to be quite honest with you. I honestly have no idea what your Michael of the week was. I heard you say that was something about local. I was pulling mine up and didn't hear a word you said.
Aaron Naismith.
Oh yeah,
Naismith and Chris Middleton.
And I was pulling mine up, and then
yes,
you somehow brought it back to Charleston, South Carolina, and I caught the tail end.
That's Middleton and Naismith both went to the same high school in Charleston, and they're the only players ever in NBA history to score 20 points in the fourth quarter of an Eastern Conference Finals game.
That is like right out of Brian's fucking like notebook, dude.
Where did you see
like that?
Everyone talks about the
Michael of the week if I've ever seen one.
That was like some local like South Carolina sports page posted something.
Look at you. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Brian.
Everyone talks about Kershaw and Stafford. No one talks about Naismith and Chris Middleton.
No, nobody does. But good work there, Mr. Jack. Brian, what do you got for us? Top that.
I don't think this will, but So Murray State baseball, they're tied 1-1 in the Super Regional with Duke right now. Number 4 seed, the Racers trying to race their way to Omaha. Their game against Duke was their first game ever in the NCAA tournament for their baseball team outside of the state of Mississippi. They've been in the tournament in 1975, 1979, 2003, and 2025. 2003, they were in the Southern Miss Regional. In 1979 and 1975, they were in the South Regional in Starkville, Mississippi. They were in the Oxford Regional to start 2025, and they finally got out of a regional round, so now they're playing in North Carolina.
Wow. They even almost got stuck with that this year. They were like,
Yep.
we have to get out of the regional, make it to the super regional to finally get out of this freaking state.
It's insane.
I've never been to Mississippi, so I don't know if it's like a bad place to be or what, but I would want to get out and try something new. That's incredible. How long have they been a program for?
At least since 1975.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, that's about as far back as we go anyway before we start delegitimizing stats, right?
Well, that was the first year of the regional play, which actually 73 was the first year of regional play because I read the stat wrong and I put in the 73 tournament and I couldn't find Murray State.
Wow.
But I digress. But yeah.
First in 50 years. That's awesome.
Mississippi does have casinos and gas stations.
Yeah, I mean, I can walk to my corner gas station right here and throw $50 in the slot machine and start playing slots. It's like it's still
Wait,
gambling.
really?
Yeah. I'll take a picture next time I'm in there. It's
just put it on OKC -11 instead.
Yeah, I don't do that ever. I've never put a single dollar into the gas station slot machine. But every time I go in there, people are in there ripping it. Even though Rivers Casino is like literally less than probably a half mile away from me.
You hit the 3 tanks of gas and you get a free tank.
People prefer the gas station slots, man. It's what they like. It's what they do. No, I think you guys had some good mics of the week here. Mine is in it was some news that stood out to me, and I was so excited because I thought it was going from the FCS to the FBS, and I was like, finally, I don't have to get clowned for supporting FCS football. But Villanova's leaving the CAA, so I was like, oh my gosh, here we go, big time. But they're going to the Patriot League in 2026, which I don't know. I think the CAA is a better league than the Patriot League.
Be careful. Our buddy Matt's not going to be happy with you.
Well, in terms of just like, I don't know, and I could be wrong, but Richmond and William and Mary are also jumping over to that, but it is still.
And this is basketball we're talking right
now? No. Football. They're in the Big East basketball.
Oh, okay.
They're actually good in basketball.
Yeah,
I was going to say, they're like good in basketball. That's why I was confused.
No. I was talking about football. Brian knew what I meant immediately. But yeah, no, it's official, man. They'll go to the Patriot League in 2026, and as soon as I saw they were dipping the CAA, I thought for sure they were jumping up to, even if it was like, I don't know, what's like an FBS. Does the Big East have a conference for football? What's like one that Nova could join? That would be because like JMU went to the Sun Belt, but I think the Sun Belt would be too far south for Nova.
I think the Patriot. I mean, it at least makes sense in the fact you get to play Lafayette and Lehigh now in your league,
right?
And the teams are around-ish. I guess the CAA is kind of the same, but like
CAA is the same as well. Yeah,
I don't know. You get to play Boston, Colgate. They're all driving.
I know. I mean, like, what league could Nova join? That would be FBS, that conference, that like the ACC.
Yeah,
that would make sense for them to join, right? Like, they're not going to go join the SEC. They're not going to go join the Big 12 because it's regionally. I know we don't care about regions anymore, but
bro, they're not competing in the ACC.
Well, yeah, but he's saying just in terms of like.
Yeah, not the question. The question is in terms of
the American.
The American would probably make more sense. Yeah, it would be a low tier. It would be a low tier.
Yeah, club. I mean, American.
There's so much around here, and then
Conference USA, maybe.
Yeah. Either way, just doesn't matter. Probably will never join out. But they have had some great players to come from that school, i.e. Brian Westbrook, who comes to mind first. But yeah,
Great name.
Yeah, great name. But that's all I got for the Michael of the Week. Appreciate everybody joining. We will jump over now to a little bit. I guess this whole thing hasn't been as professional, but I kind of like it like that anyway. When we're in the dog days of summer, but the summer breeze. This is where we kind of open the floor up and just talk about, I guess sports, maybe sometimes not sports, and we just talk about everything. But what's on your guys' minds, man?
Sovereignty won the Belmont. First horse ever to win the Belmont and the Kentucky Derby without competing in the Preakness.
I did see that, and I think if the horse did race the Preakness, I think we would have been looking at our newest Triple Crown winner.
Yeah, still haven't had one since Justify in 2018.
I know, it's tough, but I think that would have been, what was the reasoning? Did they have reason?
The horse was tired.
That's what they said, because the horse can talk and tell them that, right?
Well, I think the trainer was actually a good person. It's hard to find those in the sport of horse racing. But he realized his horse needed a break. It is a quick turnaround, like going from Kentucky and then 1 week up, you're going to Maryland. Also Baltimore. Horse was probably hearing gunshots all night.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is a rough sport, and there's, like anything in life, a lot of people who are out there that are saying that they, don't agree with the horse racing, this, that, and the third, but whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, I met some girl Friday night.
Big anti-horse racer lady.
Big anti-horse. So there's in Charleston, they have like the big Clydesdale horses that take you around on like a carriage and show you around downtown. And on that passed by, yeah. Oh my God, it smells terrible in some areas. But one passed by and the girl started yapping about how she, is super against the horses being used for this purpose. And I just looked at her boyfriend and I was just like, he just looked at me like shaking his head. It's like, that's not a fight that I get into, man.
No.
I think those ones are just like old and they just do it for exercise. I would hope, at least. I think the racing is definitely tougher.
The racing is definitely tougher on the horse, a little more brutal, to say is speak. You are like whipping the horse to get it to go faster, so there is that aspect to it. But they've been doing it for what, over 100 years? How many years have been horse racing? Like, there's, I know there's
Kentucky Derby, man, forever, dude.
Yeah, like I get it.
Like, something.
Is it really that bad? Like, we're not like, it's not like every single race like a horse dies. I'm sure there's been deaths in the past, for sure.
It's more they're only 2 and they're not fully formed yet, so you're pushing their joints that aren't fully grown. But now that I think about it, maybe horse carriaging in Charleston is worse. There's a lot of cobblestone down there.
A lot of cobblestone. They get horseshoes, but a lot of cobblestone.
Yeah, but the uneven surface.
Sometimes you're taking, there's like, I don't know, maybe 10 people in that carriage. Some of them could be, wide set folks.
Wide load.
Some San Antonio women. So yeah, man, tough. It gets hot too, real hot.
Yeah.
Speaking of San Antonio women, we need Inside the NBA on ESPN because that broadcast was terrible. We didn't get any hype videos or like any. The halftime was terrible.
Oh, you mean for the finals?
Yeah. Like, it just felt like a December NBA game. Even the NBA Cup, you get like some cool production.
I'll be that guy, but I can't believe they have Doris Burke calling the game.
Well, allegedly, she's on her way out.
She's on her way. What?
I honestly, in the world of fake news and AI, I don't know if this is true, but I might have gotten sent-held, but I believe Doris Burke or the ESPN execs are unhappy with Doris Burke.
Well, look, if that's true and this is sort of her going away present to do one NBA Finals, I'm all for it. If there's going to be one, let it be this year. I'll say that too. And then I would rather have her do this and I never have to listen to her call another game than have to continue on with this because I'm not a fan.
Man. It's a pioneer of woman in sports, a trailblazer.
I don't really like Richard Jefferson either, though. This whole
I don't either. That's funny. I don't either. But no, Doris Burke, I thought was a phenomenal sideline reporter. Going to her, interviewing a LeBron or somebody on the sideline, sure, all for it. But calling the game like Tyrese Halliburton's buzzer beater, like I'm not having it.
No, she's good in the studio too. I think it's the same issue I have with Jefferson. It's like they just don't. It feels like an NBA TV Tuesday night 8 p.m. game. It doesn't feel like it should be a prime time. They just don't have a good
10:30 at night, like Clippers Nuggets on the Tuesday night.
Yeah.
ESPN doubleheader on a Tuesday night in January.
They're doing random studio look-ins like mid-second quarter. It's like no one cares, but it doesn't feel like the NBA Finals. I don't know. Maybe it's just me getting old, and it's not like signaling the end of school anymore, and it's not like this big event. But
right, it's like, oh, June, summer's here, end of school. It's like, no, I still have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, but I feel like it used to feel like you've had celebrities like coming in and doing like the huge intro song with all the highlights of. We just didn't get that.
And is NBA the worst out of all the major sports with start times?
In terms of not starting on time?
Yeah.
I
don't know, man. It's 8:07 right now, and they are like on the court ready to go. I thought they were like going to be like 25 minutes delayed here.
Well, TNT games are normally like 20 minutes. ESPN, I think it's like 10. But 7 minutes, that's pretty good.
It's 8:07, and it probably, I'm on YouTube TV, which is the internet streaming. It's probably a little delayed, so could already tip it off. I don't know. But they're like ready to go, dude. I thought this was going to huge for the NBA. This game will be over before 11 o'clock.
Yeah, OKC's probably all business tonight. They're like, all right, let's get this tipped and let's get out of here and win by 30.
You think OKC wins by 30 for real?
If they're going to win, they're going to have to win by 30.
Yeah, look at that. 8:07 tip. And we're already rolling.
We should mention our guy Steve, who will be back on for Wimbledon preview in a couple weeks. Went 2-0 on his future bets in the French Open. Said Coco and Carlos Alcaraz.
Nice, man. That's good. Yeah. And that's kind of where I was going to turn my attention that was the longest final ever in Roland Garros history. I mean, I think the previous record was 4 hours, 42 minutes. So right when it got to obviously 4 hours, 43 minutes, they let everybody know about the new record. Do we know the official end time on that one? Because it didn't end right at the record.
No, I think they said
it would go over 5.
No, it was 5 hours, 40 minutes when Alcaraz was serving for the match. So it must have gone over 6.
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
Only the third time since 2004 a player has gone down 2-0 and then come all the way back to win. And he was like on the brink. He was down a break on the third set.
Sinner had 3 championship points. I think he was serving as well.
Yeah.
3 championship points. I mean, that is like insane. You like when it was 40 love to be correct terms here. And Sinner was serving, you could have got Alcaraz at plus 6,500 money line, which is insane. $10 would have paid out 650, and then you would have watched probably the most unbelievable comeback in, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
a very long time.
And I think Sinner's now 0 for his last 6 against Alcaraz.
Well, it's interesting. Both of them came into the final undefeated in major finals. I think Alcaraz is still undefeated, and every time he gets to a final, he wins. Sinner was undefeated, not anymore.
He was on a 20-match win streak in Grand Slams, too. He was trying to get to Novak, who was at 30, who he took out in the semis, but going to have to restart that now. And with the U.S. Open coming up, the Americans might have something to say about that.
Yeah, well, we got to get through Wimbledon first.
Yeah, well, he can have his Wimbledon. But
I don't
I'm
know
saying
who's
to
going
get
to
that
get
streak
that.
back up.
That might be like Djokovic. The problem with Djokovic is he's just
Old.
the old factor, and he is still good enough to get there, right? Like get to the quarterfinals, the semifinal, maybe even sneak into a final. But these, the Alcaraz, the Sinner, like those guys are just too good now. Where I don't think he had, maybe in an off tournament in the middle of February, and it's only got to win 2 sets, he could squeak by him. But I just think when you're in the majors, man, you got to fucking win 3 out of 5. It's just I don't know that Novak has it anymore, man, and he hasn't, and it's annoying. I'm a big Novak guy. I would love to see him get one more, but
Yeah, that match against Sinner, he was holding, but he would just get broken once, and then he couldn't break Sinner, and he would just lose every set 6-4.
yeah.
And it came down to the old versus young. Sinner just looked way more explosive and powerful. Those were the 2 words that I just kept going through my head in his match against Djokovic. And Djokovic was playing smart. He looked like honestly like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning. The old guy still trying to sling it with the young guns, and he was doing some of those savvy things, hitting it to off where Sinner's off momentum was, but quarterfinals late in a tournament like this, he doesn't have the stamina, the young prowess to go head to head with these young guys. Sinner honestly just looked dominant in that matchup, and I thought with as good as he looked, he had a shot against Alcaraz, and he definitely had a shot up until he just let him come all the way back. I mean, that he came from all the way back.
I mean, dude, he dominated the entire match, Sinner, until he got it all. He got it 99.9%, up 40 love with the match on your racket, and you have 3 attempts to win. I mean, I don't know how much further or how much closer you can get without winning. That is like as close as you can get.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a
great how he responds.
Great final. We might see it again in Wimbledon. I mean, I think these have to be the 2 best right now. Maybe.
Yeah, these are 2 top guys, 1 and 2. And I think throw 1 and 2 out the window. They're the 2 best right now. I don't think ranking them 1, 2, I don't think it matters. Like they're just the 2 best. Are we allowed to agree on that, or is that like frowned upon in sports where you have to rank them 1 and 2? Because this is a legit scenario where it's not 1 and 2; it's just the 2 best.
Yeah, 1A and 1B.
I mean, I would. I understand what you're saying, how they're the 2 best. There's no denying that, but I do have to give it to Alcaraz over Sinner. Like he brought him down to the brink, and he still couldn't put him away. I got to give Alcaraz a lot of credit for staying in there, being able to mount the comeback. We talk about all the time, being able to like win 1 or win 2 games to like start to make a comeback. It's impressive, but like people do that for their pride. To actually go out and come all the way back and do the whole thing, a lot of people don't have the mental fortitude for that. So I got to give Alcaraz more credit than I think we're giving him right now.
Yeah, I think the one differentiator is they started their career 4-4 against each other. They were both 1-1, and now Alcaraz has the 5 wins in a row. And it's like how are you going to respond, Sinner? You're going to win Wimbledon for the first time since 21? What are you going to do here? You got to beat him eventually here.
Yeah, he does. Will he? I don't know. I mean, that was all mental, right? Like nobody, like Sinner should have won that. It was the doubt started creeping into his head, and that's why we saw him kind of collapse the way he did. And I think against anybody else, Sinner in that scenario wraps it up. Just Alcaraz is just so tough, man. Such a tough player, and he's the king of clay, dude. He's Rafael Nadal reincarnated, except he's not a lefty, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, the Spaniards have just owned this tournament since Nadal won his first one.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. But yeah, man, I can't wait for Wimbledon. That's one of my favorites. And I also, you guys know how I feel, and I think you guys agree. I hate the ESPN viewing experience for like just about everything. The TNT what do I even call that? Them doing the French Open, I thought was fantastic. I thought the people they had on were fantastic. I thought just everything about what they did, all the way down to like the score bug, was just aesthetically pleasing. Good camera work, good cameras, good commentators. Hats off to them. I'd be totally fine if they want to do every single major and, let ESPN do something else.
Yeah, Turner's great at all of it.
I was just saying, that's funny. I watched a lot of tennis, way more tennis. Actually, I probably watched more tennis this tournament than I've ever watched in my entire life. But I didn't listen to any of it with sound on. I was either like at a bar watching it or had it on the TV in the background while doing something. So it's good to hear that. I'll definitely tune in with the volume, listening to the commentators on the next time TNT does one. But that's good to hear.
Wimbledon?
No, I think you're gonna have to wait a year. I think it's only the French Open they have.
Tough.
Yeah, Wimbledon, I think, is NBC, so at least it's not ESPN.
Wimbledon is usually ESPN used to do them all. So has there been a power shift?
I think there has. ESPN is cutting costs.
Yeah, they had everything.
Yep.
They had all major championship golf and major tennis tournaments. Do they have the U.S. Open next week? The U.S. Open's.
Yeah, that's it. Let me see.
Am I the only one that hates how they do that?
NBC will have the U.S. Open.
The Open, the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
like, why is everything open?
Scotland and England.
Well, Open. I'm fine with the Open, but I agree. Like, why does it have to be the U? Like, just call it. Well, I think the reason why is the U.S. Open is in the U.S. The Open is like this year it's in Northern Ireland. Some years it would be in the UK, Scotland. So like you can't call it the Scottish Open if it's played in Northern Ireland. You can't call
so NBC has them both.
Okay, that makes sense.
What do they call it? What did you say, Brian?
NBC has both the Open and the U.S. Open for golf.
Okay. Who is on that broadcast crew? I would have been totally fine just giving it to Nance and the team and letting them do it. I mean, they do a great job. Him and Immelman.
And Wimbledon will be ESPN.
Damn it.
Let me see who is on the call for Dan Hicks, Mike Tirico, and Brandon Chambly. So you get Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico's solid at golf. He does the Sirius XM stuff.
Wait, Tirico's doing the U.S. Open?
Both.
And the Open.
Yep.
And then ESPN also, so that's NBC. ESPN has Wimbledon. Do they have the U.S. Open as well? Probably.
That sounds like an ESPN.
Well, they used to have all of them. This is the first year that they didn't do the French. I was like, what the hell's going on?
U.S. Open is also ESPN, ESPN2.
What?
ESPN.
Oh, for
tennis.
There's U.S. Open for tennis and U.S. Open for golf. So
yeah, U.S. Open tennis. The one next to Citi Field in Grimace.
Yes, I know. That would be fun to get boots on the ground for.
Yeah.
Day pass is slightly expensive, but we can cross that bridge in the end of August, early September. Yeah. Subscribe. But speaking of subscribe, make sure everybody's hitting that subscribe below. I think that's all the time we have for today. I will catch you guys in the midweek. I'm going to be giving out some U.S. Open futures. Let's see if Brian and Jack can do some research and come up with some good stuff on their own. We'll see.
Max Homa needs to retire.
It's a good season. War Eagle.